years ago, Catherine Beckman faced the daunting emotional challenge of welcoming somebody else's heart into her body and life. She knows all too well that having a transplant means undertaking a journey riddled with fears.
You're being wheeled in, and there's this moment in time where you pause and you're looking at the faces of these people you love, and you don't know if it's going to be the last time you see them.
After just 5 hours in surgery, Catherine awoke with a new heart full of emotion.
And I remember just such a feeling of being full and crowded and alive, and tears bouncing off my cheeks.
But before long, the tears were not tears of joy. Catherine began to change in ways that threatened to tear her apart.
There was this second energy. There were ways that I changed. I would just go off on people and lose control, and it grew increasingly intense.
Catherine Beckman was told her feelings were the result of post-operative stress combined with side effects from her medications. Psychologist Robert Bosnack believes this is an unscientific attitude for the medical community to hold.
How do they know it's just a medicine? Where do they get that information from? The least that they can do is to see that something is happening to a person who has experiences of the donor, and to ask about it, and to make the person less afraid of it, and to see why these experiences are coming up.
Catherine Beckman's donor heart came from an 11-year-old boy who was killed crossing a street. She's convinced he remained linked to the organ long after it was put into her body. When she met her donor's family and friends 10 years after the transplant, Catherine still felt his presence.
His teachers, his family, his friends looked at me, and they would look right through me. And that wasn't an okay thing. I just really had the sense that there was some other energy spirit looking through my eyes. All I could say was, you have lived with his absence for 10 years. And I have lived with his presence.
After her transplant, Claire Sylvia also started her second life, filled with unfamiliar energies and memories. Being the first heart-lung recipient in the northeastern United States, nobody could explain what she was feeling. Claire's doctors tried to assure her the heart is just a pump. With the broken one replaced, they said she'd soon be back to her old self. Claire wasn't so certain.
I kept asking, whose cells are these? Does this person's cellular structure take over within me? Do my cells take over? What is going on? Oh, there's nothing to that. Don't even think about it. Just go and ride your bicycle and be normal.
For Claire, being normal seemed to belong to a past life. Her transplant had generated too many unanswered questions for that.
They don't allow you to know who your donor family is. But things began to happen and percolate within me that were telling me about my donor.
Claire's first experience of transplant memory came as a complete surprise. When reporters came to interview her at the hospital, the behavior she'd been so proud of as a health-conscious dancer seemed to have been mysteriously overruled.
The profound question they asked me was, now that you've had this miracle, what do you want more than anything in the world? And I said, I'd die for a beer right now. It just came from someplace within me. And then the thought in the back of my mind was, maybe my donor was a beer drinker. But that's ridiculous, so I just let it go. And that was the beginning of the journey. It was a struggle. I was going one way and thinking and feeling certain things, and suddenly this youthful presence within me with a different kind of feeling about music and tastes and foods and all kinds of things is forcing me to go another way.
Claire felt only one person could ever explain what she was experiencing. Before long, that person came to visit her in a dream.
I'm in a field with a young man. I know him well. He's my friend, and his name is Tim L. I have to leave, but I realize I want to say goodbye. And as we come together, we kiss. And as we kiss, I inhale him into me, knowing in that moment that we'll be together forever. I awakened from the dream feeling totally exhilarated and knowing that this was a sign that I had integrated the heart and lungs within me. But I also knew for certain that this young man in my dream was my donor and that his name was Tim.